Hail, tarnished fiend, he who was denied by grace. You bear the mark of the distant light, yet not know its significance? Then allow me to explain. From the moment you arrived here, a cursed fate was thrust upon you. My brethren are scattered across the land, aching for the chance to do battle with you. And that goes for me as well. So then, shall we begin?
So, we all know our boy Naoki. You know, King of Chaos and all that smooth jazz. Well, today we're doing a challenge themed around this guy. In a similar vein to my VV run, we're going to be applying similar mechanics and rules for this run. Basically, following the rules of Shin Megami Tensei Nocturne, but while playing Elden Ring. So, let's establish some ground rules. This means I'm only allowed to use specific consumables that can be compared to consumables that appear in Nocturne. Example, a Miragi rock versus a, it's not what I'm going to use, but a fire pot. Since Demifiend and Nocturne can summon demons as a game mechanic, I was wondering how I could apply this specific rule. And of course, I found the most easy solution. In Shin Megami Tensei, when Demifiend is a boss, he always has 3 specific demons in his team: Pixie, Kukulkan, and Gaea Rage. In Elden Ring, they have the Spirit Ash system, which allows you to essentially summon random mobs of enemies or mini-bosses to act as your little partners if you don't have like online co-op or someone like that. And I think I found 3 Spirit Ashes that will be our stand-ins for Naoki's triple trouble, so to speak. But we'll get there when we get there. Now, let's focus on what the Demifiend's moveset is going to be, and that's going to be a little tricky. In Nocturne, Demifiend has access to a ridiculous amount of spells, attacks, but most of these skills are, well, any demon can get them. However, Demifiend does have a few specific skills only available to him. So after looking at some of these skills, and with a little bit of research, I found 4 abilities that he'll be able to use for this challenge run. 3 of which we will have access for a majority of the run, and only 1 that can be obtained near the very end. Now, what is our goal? Well, obviously to have fun, but I'm gonna put a little bit of a spin to this. We're not going to really clear all bosses, though maybe in the future I might actually come back to this and try to do that. But I decided to add a little spin to this challenge that's reminiscent of Nocturne. In that game, there's a long side quest that results in the true demon ending. This quest has you defeating the 12 fiends and collecting their menorahs. I was looking at the boss list in Elden Ring, and I think I came up with a good replacement. Instead of the 12 fiends, we're going to be fighting the 10 knights cavalry that roam the lands between. They only show up at specific times of the day, and some of them are in odd places throughout the land. My logic being, it's a great way to shoehorn in that I don't want to fight Malenia with these restrictions. I mean, what? Also, I will be pursuing a path in this game that will reflect the very conviction you need if you want to tackle the true demon ending. Well, let's just hope the chaos doesn't cost me my sanity. Now then, let's begin the run. So the day begins with Naoki waking up in the middle of a church, holding a mysterious charm called Shibriri's Woe. This charm increases the aggro of enemies and makes them more likely to target the wearer. I decided to keep this equipped at all times to kind of reflect how the Demifiend is being pursued by the fiends back in Nocturne. And after getting our ass clapped by the grafted scion, we wake up confused in a small cave with a couple flasks to get us started. Leaving the ruins, we immediately begin to try gathering... Why did I pick that shit up? Anyway, we meet up with Melina. Why do I keep trying to say Melania? We gain the ability to use Torrent and immediately return to the first church where we're introduced to Ranni, who grants us our first major tool for the run, the Spirit Calling Bell. However, we still aren't ready for any actual fights just yet. Speeding our way up to a small cabin, we meet Rodrika, who gives us our first official Spirit Ash we can use. and they will be our representation for Demifiend's Pixie, the spirit jellyfish. Early game, this little jellyfish is a bit of a tanky floater and has an ability to inflict poison. Sure, they aren't really strong, and the sad part is they're kind of an easy target for like bosses that stagger easy, but let's be fair, every little bit of help counts, especially if they can inflict poison this early on. Next step, we skip across the land to the Liurnian Lake so that Melina can take us to the Round Table Hold and unlock our little hub. Returning to the lakes, we continue our arduous journey because we're aiming to obtain our first primary ability to actually fight, the Frenzied Burst. This spell is a heavy and powerful burst of Frenzy Flame that has a crazy long reach and long charge time. I figured this is the skill that will be Demifiend's most powerful ability in Nocturne, Freikugal. That's a problem though. Realizing I need a reliable form of early damage to even get Freikugal, I go to the Consumables for help because, well, you have to kill this golden bug, and doing it with my bare fists while being surrounded by a bunch of rats that are trying to kill me, not very feasible. So, in Nocturne, there's a fire consumable called a Miragi Rock that does minuscule fire damage to enemies. Thankfully, in Elden Ring, there is a consumable that matches it somewhat. So, making my way to the Altus Plateau, I make a mad dash to the sealed tunnel to grab the Smithing Stone Bell-bearing 2, which is inside this chest. Turning this in back to the old shopkeep back at Round Table Hold allows us to buy explosive stones. These suckers do a small amount of fire damage in a small blast-like radius that can technically hit multiple enemies. Sure, I'm stretching the rules a tiny bit, but come on. Returning to Liurnia, I use the stones to kill this gold scarab and finally obtain Freikugal. The downside, unfortunately though, is I need to get enough runes to get 22 faith to even use it. So, after using all of the runes that I gathered earlier, I pump every level into faith, and finally I have a method to fight. So what do? I immediately fight Margit.
Foul tarnished. In search of the Elden Ring. Emboldened by the flame of ambition. Someone must extinguish thy flame. Let it be Margit the Fell.
And even though she isn't upgraded, our pixie jellyfish is surprisingly tanky against one of the first hurdles to the challenge. But with a few well-timed Freikugals, we successfully take out the first boss of the run and complete day 1 of the challenge. Day 2 begins, and this time I decide to get our next demon partner, Cuchulainn. Heading to the Murkwater Catacombs, we face the Duelist, which, in retrospect, is actually kind of an easy fight if you know exactly when to charge your Freikugals and stuff. So after beating him, we get the Banished Knight Engvall. I figured he was a good representative for our favorite Celtic hero. I mean, he's got a spear, utilizes wind in some of his attacks, and overall, he's a pretty reliable summon. Sure, might not be Gay Bolg, but hey, he can stagger enemies, there's that. Heading to Caelid, I take out the Putrid Tree Avatar to get the Flame Shrouding Crack tier to boost our Freikugals, since Frenzied Burst, or Freikugal, is a fire-based attack. Now, to boost our defenses, I grab the Dragon Crest Shield. Think of this talisman as if we just ingested the Komodo Magatama from Nocturne, and now we got some physical resistance, since we're only wearing pants. Since Rodriguez back at the Round Table Hold, and we've managed to, make her befriend our favorite little blacksmith, she's able to upgrade our spirits. So, we boost up both Pixie and Cuchulainn so they'll be a bit tankier, and then we tackle the Windham Catacombs. Taking out the Burial Watchdog, we get ourselves the Glove Wart Picker's Bell Bearing. This is going to be for future purposes. At this point, I decided to go to some weaker areas to gather extra materials and runes for leveling, so we head underground. Unfortunately, this underground lacks a goat mom, so we have to kill who we come across. After leveling up, we head to the Caelid Catacombs to test our might against the Cemetery Shade, and he's already dead. I don't know what I was expecting, to be honest. So, feeling cocky, I decide to test our might against the dual boss in the Minor Erdtree Catacomb. Alongside Kukulin, we are able to take out the Sword Watchdog. Unfortunately, Ku falls in battle, and it's up to Naoki to take out the last Watchdog. Thankfully, after bringing him down, we get our third and last summon for this run. The Mad Pumpkin, our stand-in for Gear Makala. The reason I chose the Mad Pumpkin, aside from his big, bulk, is there's a funny little interaction whenever it comes to the Mad Pumpkin, where because of his gigantic helmet that he wears, it tends to take the brunt of any physical damage that is thrown his way. I figured that while it's not a reflection of physical attacks, it is a dramatic reduction, which I think that kind of fits for our big boy, our favorite elephant. But anyway, after successfully getting this guy, we end day 2. Day 3 starts, and I decide to get our second skill for this run, Pest Threads, or rather the stand-in for Javelin Rain. To begin, I talked to the red-hooded man over out here in Caelid, where he told me about a weird secret in the town that I was wandering around in. So, lighting some lanterns, because why not, I went up the hill to the Church of Rot to locate a girl that's just, casually rotting in the corner. After setting that into motion, I make my way to the Swamp of Aeonia and run into Commander O'Neill, who's holding the broken needle we need to stop the rotting girl from rotting more. Poor girl. Sorry, I gotta admit, having only one method of attack does make things a bit more difficult, but it does teach me to completely change my playstyle. While the VV challenge was more up to my speed because of the spell selection, the Demifiend run is a tad more difficult for 2 major reasons. 1, a significantly more limited skill set, and 2, wait, I died? Hold on. Okay, I'm not ready. Yet. So, I decide, screw it, we're going to the Black Knife Catacombs. For reasons! Returning to Caelid, I head out to the northern area in a church where there's a beast clergyman waiting for us. Thanks to the death root that we got from the Black Knife Catacombs, I gave it to him, and unfortunately I realized he might be a little mad, so I need to calm him down after, just for being pissed off. So after a few fire blasts to his face, he calms down, and you know what, it's probably better I just explain this. Deathroot is the lock behind another one of our main skills, Deadly Fury. So basically I have to gather several Deathroot in order to get the skill that he's got available. How do I get Deathroot? Well, there are these weird undead ferryman that just kind of roam around on little boats called Tibia Mariners. So they tend to carry them, and I take them out, one by one. And after gaining enough Deathroot, our big boy over here in the church finally gives us the Beast Claw, which I will from this point forward refer to as Deadly Fury. Armed with my new skill set, I return to Commander O'Neill. This time, we win by the skin of our teeth, right as we die at the same time of Scarlet Rot. I'm glad I got that on camera. Returning to Old Man McRedrobes, I give him the needle, which he repairs, and we hand it to the rotting girl. After she stibbly-abbles herself, she feels a bit better, and the old man congratulates us. However, we still have one more thing we gotta do to get Javelin Rain. Back at the Altus Plateau, we run to the Shaded Castle, a place completely covered in poison. Mostly because, for some reason, there's a chest with a fully functional automail arm, and we just so happen to know a lady who needs an arm. So Demifiend casually tosses the not-rotting girl a new arm, and she promises to give us a hand in the future. Wait. Returning to the old man Smithers, he finally gives us our reward, the Pest Threads. And as hard it is for me to say, this is going to be our only moveset for the rest of the run. Mostly. With our new power, I decided to test out the capabilities against the putrid avatar, and we beat it on our third try, thus finishing up day 3. I was kind of hoping we could do that one time, but just doing the first try, but whatever. Day 4 begins, and I decided to get us some more power. For some reason. I decided at that point that our next location should be Raya Lucaria. So, I get the key for the academy, which is guarded by a magic spewing dragon, because that's completely normal. Which, by the way, we make short of said dragon with a combination of Freikugal and Javelin Rain. Like, seriously, look at that damage. Large enemies cannot handle pest threads. It is ridiculous how powerful this skill is. The Red Wolf, surprisingly for the Demifiend run, is a lot easier than our Vivi run. I think that's because of our trusty pixie jellyfish. And we bulldoze through the academy up to the owner of Renala. Died. Until we didn't. Second try summoning Kukulkan when we thoroughly destroy Renala with no issue. Gotta love that stagger. Now that 2 shard bearers are defeated, and I totally didn't forget to record the Battle of Godric, you're imagining things, which I totally didn't lose that footage, and I'm still not crying over the fact I'm not fucking. We unlock the capital. We are getting closer to something. I don't know. It's been kind of weird ever since we got to this capital. I think I might just be hearing things. It's been kind of weird since I came across that weird yellow. Your destiny foretells it. You know, the majority of this run kind of just feels similar to what we did with Vivi. Something feels like it needs to be different, though. And who the hell cares? I should just focus. Oh, hey, it's a boss. Oh shit, it's a boss. The next day. Sorry, I'm feeling kind of sick, I think. Anyway, maybe a wayward maiden or fellow needs my help. I'm gonna go do something else real quick.
Hello? Is someone there? Would you donate any Shabriri grapes in your possession to me? I'm on a pilgrimage in search of the distant light. And when I eat one of those grapes, I can feel the light in the back of my eyes. You are most kind indeed. May the blessing of the fingers be upon you. I wonder what Shabriri grapes really are. No, it's not all of those people. Their own noises I heard were...
Did you see what they did to my ancestors?
At this point, since I lost some footage, I decided maybe it's time for us to tackle the Knights Cavalry at Grail's Dragonborough. Okay, never mind, I died. So I changed tactics. Going to the Nameless Eternal City in the Deeproot Depths, so I can take a shortcut to the Einsel Deep River. The reason I do this is to gather some extra runes and materials. And after my short little detour, I return to the bridge, and I do something a little insulting. I then head to the Forbidden Lands to tackle another Knight's Cavalry. Does this count? Oh yeah, check out this silly glitch. I'm glad I got this on camera. Last time this happened during the Vivi run, I was only able to get... I don't know why this keeps happening. And we continue our destruction of the Knight's Cavalry. This time at the East Raya Lucaria Gate. Ooh. Ooh, my lord. Gate Town Bridge is next. Admittedly, when I started this challenge, I thought it would be tougher than the Vivi challenge. Funnily enough, because I have fewer damage options, but ironically, because I can focus solely on those damage types, thus kind of making the challenge a little easier. The next Knight's Cavalry is waiting for us at the Altus Plateau, and with our combination of Deadly Fury and Freikugal, we melt his health. I think I've reached the point in the run where I'm just having fun destroying these enemies. Now, my demons are caught a little lacking in power, and like any self-respecting fiend, I decide it's time to power them up even more. So, I head to the Giant's mountaintop catacombs to grab a little something. Teaming up with Kukulkan, we completely decimate the ulcerated tree spirit and grab the Glovewort Picker's Bell-Bearing 2. At this point, Giramacala reaches rank 8, and good lord, I expect great things from him. With my upgrades, I speed run the mountaintop of the Giants until I reach Castle Sol. Heading to the rooftop, I summon Gear McCullough to fight against Commander Nile. Nile thinks SMT is for losers, so we decide to introduce his face to the searing fires of Freikugal, hoping he will go home and repent for his blasphemy, beating him on our first try and ending day 5. Day 6 starts, and we are finally in the icy place where you can't see your hand in front of your face, where the last 2 nights' cavalry await us. Like all the cavalry, they only appear at night, so we make it to the Grace and take on the cavalry. Like I normally do, I decided to take them on one at a time, starting with, the flail user, since he was the first one who got blasted. I'm not entirely sure why when one is struck, the other doesn't try to help. Either it's the AI, or perhaps the two had a falling out and just kind of hate each other. Anyway, I take out the flail user and then snipe the glaive wielder to get his attention. It's funny, I always thought glaives kind of sucked, but since I've been playing the Guardian on Night Rain, I've since found a deeper appreciation for the weapon, even though he specifically uses halberds, but it doesn't matter. Maybe that'll figure into my next challenge run. Or not, who knows. After such a challenge, I can tackle the end game now, right? Well, yes, but I decided to take a detour. Since we took Vike's eye and killed him, I figured I could do him a solid and put an end to his girlfriend so the two could be reunited in the afterlife. Come on, his nickname was the Dragon Spear for a reason. After reuniting the lovers in death, I return to the mountaintops where we tackle one of the last few roadblocks to bringing chaos to the world, the Fire Giant. With this battle, I decided to summon Gear McCullough right at the start, and oh my god, that damage! What the? Okay, I was gonna go into detail about how past, I'm just reading, I'm not even on the script at this point. I was gonna go over this whole thing about, Javelin Rain, Pest Threads, but are you seeing this HP? I can't. I'm just gonna toss out the last bits of notes about this freaking giant that I wrote down right here real quick. The damage from Pest Threads on the Fire Giant is ridiculous. Anyway, We beat the fire giant on our first freaking try, and I don't even think I needed Girmakala for this. At this point, we have officially reached Farum Azula, the penultimate area of the game. Or at least the base game. I was scared initially because there's two particular bosses that are here, and one of said bosses is a duo. I don't want to talk about how annoying this fight was. On a positive note, it's during the winning attempt that I realized how good Deadly Fury is, especially when I realized that the attack was able to go through certain objects that are usually blocking the Godskin's way. And thankfully, that's one headache down and one more that's in this area to go. The clergyman casually tosses in my face, so I counter with Pest Threads and Deadly Fury. Girmakala once again proving to be a beast. Phase 2 starts, and immediately we lost. So I try again. Maybe it's because Kukulkan is like crazy lucky, but we beat Malekith on our second try. I mean, I'm surprised, but happy. I was expecting that to take longer.
of death is unbound. And the lands between are shrouded by death's dark fate. But the flames will also burn the impenetrable thorns. Farewell it is then. You'll be Elden Lord yet.
We start the final day, allowing Gideon to offer his pathetic diatribe. And alongside Pixie, we casually bully him into submission, getting a free bounty of runes. Next, the real boss fight. Godfrey, the first Elden... Can someone explain to me what just happened here? Gaea Rage just made Godfrey give up. Like, phase one, it's like, you people are saying this. What happened? Anyway, apparently it wasn't him that was the only one that gave up, because apparently Naoki gave up too, because at that moment, my controller disconnected somehow. Anyway, the real attempt. Okay. The real attempt goes a lot smoother, and alongside our pumpkin-headed elephant, we defeat the Elden Chad. The reward? Gaea Rage. With his remembrance, we gained what I consider to be this game's equivalent to Gaea Rage. We may use this. Now then, let's wrap things up. The penultimate boss of this challenge run is the mighty Radagon, deflector of spells. Unfortunately for him, he never met Gaea Rage, who surprisingly developed a resistance to Shut up. So for payback, I casually snipe Radagon out of the air. Bitch. Unfortunately, though, it's time we finally put an end to the representation of law in this world. The Elden... Oh, I'm dead. Oh. Well, this time we bring in our good luck charm. Hello, this is post-editing Soba, or future Soba, who's currently editing this video. For the record, this video has caused my editor to crash like 30, I think we're at 33 times now. Anyway, I just decided to take this time to go ahead and add a little bit of like extra dialogue here. Like whenever it comes to this fight, I thought the Vivi run was easy because we had access to like ancient dragon lightning. It is absolutely insane to me how mind-bogglingly powerful Pest Threads is. It's almost enough for me to actually just play through Elden Ring again, but actually doing much more unconventional methods with like skills like Pest Threads, or even something as laughably bad as Elden Stars. I choose to believe maybe I can make that spell work in some sort of build, but who knows? All I know is with this challenge run, it became so much easier than the Vivi run initially. But for you guys sticking around and watching this, I want to thank you. If it weren't for the people in the Discord and people like you, I don't think I probably would have been able to finish this Demifiend challenge run at all. So to every one of you, thanks. Anyway, back to video Soba. And after a good Javelin Rain spam, we end it all. And thus, may chaos take the world.
Lord of frenzied flame. I will seek you as far as you may travel. To deliver you what is yours. Destined death.
And thank you all very much for watching. If you stuck through to the end, I wanted to give you yet another thank you. You earned yourself an entire plate of no-bake cookies, unless you're allergic to chocolate or peanut butter, in which case I offer... I can't think of any cookies that don't require peanut butter or chocolate now that I think about it. Sugar cookies? Does that work? It doesn't matter. Just wanted to thank you all very much for actually sitting through and actually watching this video. I realize this is a little bit shorter than the VV run, but that should kind of tell you like how much faster it took me to clear this game as the Demifiend in comparison to VV. And I think a big part of that is having access to the summon system. Now, I'm not entirely sure whether I'm going to do another challenge run. I'm thinking about it, but realistically, the next thing on my mind that I'm thinking about is like seeing if the Demifiend or VV can take on the DLC. But that's for another time. I'm going to also extend another thank you to Asura for giving me the extra voiceover for the beginning skit. Thank you. You are a true bro on that one. And a big thank you to Horizon Dreamer for supplying the art for said cutscene. Thank you. Absolutely. Just, you two are awesome. And again, I'll say it as many times as possible. Thank you all very much for actually watching this, sticking through to the end. Any feedback is welcome. And, well, see you guys whenever I decide to do something else that's in this vein. I suck at ending videos.